grantees submitting their success stories as under the community participant type. Those will display in this section here. So if we go back to the home page, there is a couple other pages that I wanted to show group here. So on the Become an Apprentice page, we have a reference to the initiatives that are taking place in Illinois. And so when users select this button, learn about initiatives, it'll take them to another page here. And this will have more information about what's happening in Illinois. So at the top, we have the state apprenticeship expansion, Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity description there, as well as a map of Illinois broken out by LWIA and region. And then down here we have in the northern, central, and southern regions, the different counties that are served, and the organizations, the grantees, with links to their website, which we will be updating to make sure that it'll link directly to the apprenticeship website for that organization. And then below this, we have the customized apprenticeship program information for CAPIT, ICCB. And then again, that distributed northern, central, southern region, the county served, and the organizations. And then we also have other community college apprenticeship information. Again, broken out by region and links to the apprenticeship sites. There's a few bullet points I need to go back and correct there. Below that, we have the information about the Chicago Apprentice Network and a link to their website, as well as ICAT, the Industry Consortium for Advanced Training, the link to their website as well. And then on the Illinois Initiatives page, right at the bottom, we have the job seekers or apprentice seekers contact form. And with that, I will turn things back over to Tony to see if there's anything else that should be covered with the apprenticeship Illinois site changes that we've been making.
Thanks, David. I would open it up for questions or comments at this point. Anybody have any questions or comments? Want to see anything else or in more detail?
Good morning. This is Arthur Bishop. I did send a chat, but I sent it only to Jennifer. So back to the statement that in comparison to FY20 and FY21, the visits were down. And then also employers were down. So my question is, let me back up. Do we have any analysis of what people were seeking when visiting the website? Also the same for employers, you know, in other words, what were their interests? And then secondly, having this information, I believe it would help us as we are implementing, if we're going to do that, an ongoing website QA/QI process. And so that's the question I have for us at this time.
David, I would throw that to you as far as what level of detail is collected on the analytics.
So we don't really, we can't really say with the analytics, you know, a specific reason or, you know, resource that a user might, you know, have wanted to, you know, search and navigate through the site. Okay. Something to consider with the overall, you know, the numbers being down the first 2 quarters is, and I'd be interested in taking a look at this, is to see if in the, you know, kind of late 3rd and 4th quarter of last year, if there was a significant spike because of Apprenticeship Week, and if that, you know, drove up those numbers and that traffic for, you know, as far as views coming to the site.
Thanks.
And this is Jennifer. Tom Wendorf had a question about who updates the list of registered apprenticeship and youth and pre-apprenticeship info. Tom, are you talking about the actual data or the content? All right, I think I can't hear David's answer, but in the interest of time, maybe we should keep going.
I have a question. This is Levon.
Go ahead.
Okay, so remind me again, the calendar is a part of this or it's a separate, how do I get back to the calendar?
Calendar is on the bottom of the front page and it is
Okay.
a part of the home
I'm
page.
sorry, but I kind of blanked out there for a minute, so
Yep.
got it.
Yeah, so
And could you just remind me, people can go in and add to the calendar, or you have to go through someone to add to the calendar?
Correct. So yeah, a user can add an event
Okay.
and yeah, there is a approval process. So,
Okay.
To make sure that, it is,
Okay.
a legitimate event and everything.
All right, I was thinking of all the activities that the CAPIT grants have going on, if they wanted to put them on here. Okay,
Absolutely. Yeah, Levon,
Yeah.
this is Jennifer. Absolutely, we can do that. If I know them, I can add
Okay.
them. And to all the committee members and the Friends of Apprenticeship that are on the call, we'd really like to make this a destination for apprenticeship activity in the state. So
Okay.
in a minute, you're going to hear about Apprenticeship Week, but we're really trying to elevate local and regional activities and celebrations. And we'd like to do that on this calendar. I'm sorry, my internet had a hiccup, so I lost connection for a minute, but I just put the link to the test site and the link that we used for the marketing work group for evaluating this site that Tony mentioned earlier. So that's it's in the chat.
Jennifer, Tom Wendorf followed up in the chat asking how to add the link. to the
So
site.
Tom, if you have a link that you'd like to see added, please just let us know. Let me know.
Right, so as I said, this is a work in progress, but at this point, we want to move forward. We want to take this from test to live. The goal is to take it live by next Monday, September 20th. It's key to the next part that we're going to talk about with Apprenticeship Week. It's a key part to that. So that being said, I would like to make a motion that the Apprenticeship Committee approve the redesign for the website to make it be able to make it live, take it from test to live, and make this the official website for Apprenticeship Illinois.
So moved. This is Laz.
Second, Arthur Bishop.
This is Jennifer. I'm going to just try and do the second poll. Stop sharing. Here we go. Sorry about that.
So if all the voting members would just go ahead and vote and submit that. You give us the word, Jennifer.
Yep. Okay, ending that. Okay, we can keep moving forward. Let me get to the right place in the slides here. Sorry about that.
Hello? Hello?
Can you guys not hear me?
I can't.
You're a little spotty, Jennifer.
Okay, do you see the
Anyone not
slide?
hear me?
Sorry, yes, we
ma'am.
can hear you.
Yep.
I'm sorry, guys. Hey, I just wanted to make a comment that can we make sure that I know we got the data on the registered apprenticeships, and I know that's just easier data for us to pull in this moment of time. But if we can make a concerted effort to make sure that we do capture data around non-registered programs that are doing good work in the state. I mean, thinking we just, a couple of folks that we just added on have apprenticeship programs, but they're not necessarily registered. So I just wanted to uplift that and make sure that we had it.
It's a good comment, Manny. I honestly don't know. Is there a mechanism to capture that information? Does Jennifer or anyone that's on the call know that?
This is Jennifer. I think it's only available through survey data. I believe that Brian Richard did and Jennifer Foyle did a survey last summer that went into the Apprenticeship Illinois legislative report, but it's not captured by any one state agency, nor is it captured by the USDOL Rapids, which is only registered apprenticeship data. That might be an interesting question to raise with the state agencies that are on the call, if there's some interagency agreement for how to capture that information. It's not routinely captured right now, Manny.
At the very least, maybe we could use our system of navigators and intermediaries to do some of this for us. Maybe they would know in their specific regions. At least the navigators should know, things that are in the pipe and may not be fully registered at this moment, but they're doing these spirits of the program. I would just say we start there and make sure that they know that we want to make sure that all of that data is captured on the website. That's all. And I just want to say kudos to Anthony and the team. I mean, you guys did a great job. I think it's very intuitive and it flows right. And I just wanted to say that also.
Hey, Manny, let me follow up on the non-registered, and what we run into at a local level is we basically stumble upon them more than there being any network. You go out and have a discussion about not even an apprenticeship program, and you find out that they're running either something that they call an apprenticeship program, or that is something that is really close to a registered apprenticeship program that they've never thought about registering. So I'm not sure, like Jennifer said, I'm not sure that there's a good way to end up with decent data on what's going on.
Yeah, and Tony, maybe the data, to me, the data is almost, I don't want to say it's not important, right? I mean, I think I love the dashboard where you're saying, here's a current snapshot, but it's more, I think, linking people, right? That whole point of this website, we want it to be a destination so that it can link people to programs. So I'm more concerned if my comment didn't make that, I'm more concerned about the linkage than I am about the data. I understand our data constraints. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I think that's what we all want to do is link. So,
Yeah.
all right, I'm
Sorry.
up
Go ahead,
against the
Tom.
clock here. Mike's about to yell at me. So let's move forward. The other thing that the committee has been working on this year, the marketing committee, is Apprenticeship Week for 2021. A little bit of an update. We have a subgroup of our work group working on this. We confirmed last week with USDOL that they have changed the date to traditionally the week that was Apprenticeship Week. They've moved it back a week. So it is now this year, November 15th through 19th. The good news is that Kim Jones sent us out information last week that they have set the dates for the next 4 years. So it is that same week for the next 4 years, so we can plan ahead now and not have to wait from year to year to determine what week it's going to be. The good news for us is the week before was Veterans Day, so that was always a holiday for a lot of people. So this week is a 5-day week. So we're looking at Governor's Proclamation events. We're working with DCO Communication Department, the DCO Red Team, and the Apprenticeship Navigators to identify 3 or 4 employers to host for proclamation events. Historically, the governor has done one event. The one a couple years ago was in the Rotunda at Springfield. We're looking to have the governor go out throughout the state to employers who are doing apprenticeship programs and do those proclamation events at the employers. We're also looking at local and regional proclamation events to create events for individuals to go to those employers who are doing apprenticeship programs, working on who to invite and where to go, and also proclamation templates and toolkits should be available September 20th on the new website. We're looking for the local and regional events, open houses, business tours, speaking events, apprenticeship and employer spotlights on a more regional or local basis. We're also looking at a get to know apprenticeship virtual website or webinar series. That whole week, one event each day from 9 to 10 daily. Each day will have a different focus. More to come on that. And again, the website calendar where people will be able to find those events either at a regional level or a local level or even at a state level for Apprenticeship Week. And then we're looking for materials to push out: logos, banners, printer-friendly materials, anything, videos that is going to highlight Apprenticeship Week and what's going on. So working on a one-pager that actually the one-pager exists that you should see September 20th on the website, providing more information and more detail about what I'm talking about here. So businesses, if you're interested, if you're in an apprenticeship program, interested in the governor coming to your site for a proclamation, or if you know of someone in your region who you think would be a good site for the governor to come to, please reach out to us and let us know. And we'll begin working on that process to connect the governor with that business to make it happen. So Jennifer posted in the chat a demo video about Apprenticeship Week. So look at that. Mike, 9:55, right on time.
All right, way to go, Tony.
Actually, I would open it up. I got one more thing. Sorry. Any questions on Apprenticeship Week here real quick? If not, I just wanted to mention the new committee constant contact communications for meeting. The committee members should have received this week as opposed to a boring meeting invite. We're working on designing communications through constant contact that's going to provide a little bit more information, trying to grow the apprenticeship mailing list. And hopefully this is one way for us to manage and grow contacts. And also the sign up box on the website will also help us grow the network. The more people that we have in the network, the more that we can provide information on apprenticeships, the better for all of us. So we'd like your thoughts, reactions, or things you would like added for future additions to this meeting invite that you should have all received. So if you can provide that information to Jennifer, she's spearheading that. If you have any ideas on how to make things better, please reach out to her on this as well. But I will say, I think this idea is miles ahead of what we usually see in meeting invites, providing an additional information. So now I'm done, Mike.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Hey, appreciate everything that the marketing committee is doing. Without marketing, we're all just hollering down a well here. So that awareness is critical to try to expand apprenticeship. So thank you for that. We're going to move on to Dr. Laz Lopez, who's been heading up our youth apprenticeship work group and is going to present their final conclusions to us. I won't say that your work is over, Dr. Lopez, but certainly we've reached a key benchmark here. So take it away.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Jennifer. You know, I just want to start by saying that I think it comes to a surprise to lots of individuals that youth are actually engaged in apprenticeships, particularly youth that are in school. And apprenticeships in schools really is an intervention strategy to certainly support the economic development in our communities by promoting this economic mobility of its youth. And just to give a tangible example, only because it just happened, we have a multimedia youth apprentice who's worked with some of our media folks and learned how to use the camera in doing stories. Well, they did that last Friday as part of the September 11th celebrations. And if you watch the local ABC or NBC affiliate, you would have seen their story that this youth apprentice actually filmed. It was probably almost a 2-minute segment on what's happening locally here for September 11th. So that was one of our students that's in an apprenticeship in multimedia, getting paid and working with our media department. And the same thing goes for other real examples, students that are in the construction trades and management, where they're really working on a public commercial project management alongside all of our trades. And in healthcare, individuals that are working as CNAs in long-term care facilities, working towards a nursing degree or completing their CNA requirements. So these really are happening, and it really is a strategy to prevent individuals sort of not having a future and ensuring or increasing their likelihood of economic mobility. So I begin by that for those people that maybe aren't aware. So these are all the participants in our committee during this last year, just about, that we have spent working on them. So I want to thank all these participants that were here and actively engaged with our group. And just to go to the initial charge from the IWIB to our youth apprenticeship work group was really how to expand quality youth apprenticeship. So that was our focus, our sort of our A to Z, both identifying programs and standards that can be replicated and the barriers to starting apprenticeship programs in high schools. So this report that we're submitting, that I know Jennifer will share with everyone or post on the site, this slide deck is really a summary of that report. So I would encourage people to go to the report in order to really read in much more detail. So our group began its work with the survey to identify what were the barriers, or what were the most significant barriers that we could manage that were standing in the way of expansion. And this survey occurred last summer in 2020. In the final report, you'll see all of the data analysis related to that and the participation from a cross-sector of individuals engaged with this work. But the 5 barriers that were identified included on-the-job training requirements, understanding apprenticeships, employer liability, how to get started, and the operational logistics. And I would also say that in January 21, the Office of Career and Tech Ed, Technical and Adult Education at the U.S. Department of Ed also released their own nationwide summary of responses to their request for information on really overall work-based learning and opportunities for youth. And those insights actually really mirrored the insights that we received here locally. So on our first sort of charge, or just to sort of begin, was this development of program standards and components. Now, I presented to this committee previously already on these specific components last December of 2020 and received feedback. And and this is sort of the final document that articulates both the essential components and guiding principles and program standards. What I will say is that this was significantly informed by the PIA Partnership for Youth Apprenticeships Partners and their set of guidelines and principles, and we modified that for Illinois. We've had quite a few engagements with them in their network, which is a national network, and so this really sits on quite solid ground. And we view this framework particularly for in-school youth and for school leaders, administrators that are looking to initiate and begin, as well as regional offices of educations and intermediaries and navigators to help schools begin youth apprenticeship programs. And so the report begins with our barriers. And the first barrier and the most significant barrier for youth apprenticeships, keep in mind this is for in-school youth, is this the 2,000-hour minimum requirement in on-the-job, which we have for most of our experiences, and our sort of hope and expectation to really move towards more of the competency-based approach, which is what's been used at a lot of our schools. So within this first barrier of the 2,000 hours, there were several recommendations from our work group. And what I will say is we had content experts at all of our meetings that would come in and help us reach these recommendations. So the first one is really about concerning the adoption of the framework that we just shared to ensure that when we're talking about competency-based apprenticeships with youth, that really is focused on the mastery of knowledge and skills related to the on-the-job requirement. The state of Illinois adopted a definition of youth apprenticeships that set a minimum of 450 hours of on-the-job, and that really be accepted as the minimum standard for a competency-based youth apprenticeship, whether registered or non-registered. The third recommendation is convening a state-level summit. This is likely would be annual of youth apprenticeship leaders, and that we bring all stakeholders together so there is common understanding, common awareness, and it supports the implementation and expansion. Other school leaders need to see models that will allow them to know what to do. This really is new work. It is not easy work, and it's not been part of the traditional definition of what a school superintendent does, but that is why we're going to need other partners. Item 4 is utilizing state-funded navigators to coordinate and expand regionally developed and approved youth apprenticeships in partnership with our regional offices of education. It was clear through our work that the ROEs really are an organizing framework in all of our districts. And I also want to make mention that in another recommendation, we do incorporate our EFEs, our EFE directors, which each region has as well. And then the last item 5 is really encourage our region 5 to sort of eliminate that minimum number of whether it's 1,500 hours or 2,000 hours for competency-based apprenticeships for youth. It's just not feasible to get to 2,000 work hours for somebody who's in school. For our second barrier, the focus is on the lack of understanding among stakeholders of the components and benefits of participating in a youth apprenticeship. We live in this world, so we think this is obvious, but it is not. And so the recommendations related to that, some of them relate to Tom's presentation there and our marketing group. You can go ahead and move forward there, Jennifer. I'll speak to them while she's pulling those up. The first is develop and fund a youth apprenticeship branding and marketing campaign to increase awareness and understanding and interest. The second would be to expand the targeted information available through the Apprenticeship Illinois website with centralized information and FAQ to manage the perceived barriers and value of youth apprenticeships. I don't know if we lost Jennifer or if the third is to replicate their existing regional career expositions that are occurring, particularly in Southern Illinois, and to replicate existing pre-apprenticeship programs for high school youth that are also occurring and facilitated by organized labor or independent employers. Some of those models we heard from that were occurring in Southern Illinois. And 5, and if I have access to share my screen, let me share my screen because I can. Let's see here. Since we
Jennifer's having some ongoing internet
I got it.
issues last, so.
No, that's okay. I'm going to load it here. Let me see where I'm at. Yep. And required, let me close this screen off so I can see. And then, so replicate some of those things we saw in Southern Illinois. And then I think the one of the most significant ones here is really the transitional requirement of a transitional alignment of in-school youth and pre-apprenticeship programs to state funding post-secondary apprenticeship program. One of the lead implementers of apprenticeship programming is in our community colleges, and there really should be a direct alignment between high school career pathway programs and youth apprenticeships or pre-apprenticeship program, or those that are community and our community college programs. Okay, there we go. The third barrier is around liability and liability requirements related to workman's comp, age, and a host of issues that employers brought to us. So there are 7 recommendations related to employer liability. First is to create state guidance in partnership with employers on liability related issues. It's our perception that a lot of these really have been addressed both by the Department of Labor and other state agencies, but there's still a lot of